For 15 years, Nika believed her husband was just a busy man. Patrick always had meetings, always had business trips, always had late-night calls he took outside. Whenever Nika asked questions, he smiled and said, "My love, I am working for this family." So she believed him. They had 2 children, Ada and Jason. Patrick paid school fees, came home with gifts, and smiled in family pictures. But love can live beside a lie for years and not know. The truth started on a normal Tuesday morning. Ada came home from school with a strange look on her face. "Mummy," she said, "there's a new girl in my class. Her name is Zena. She looks like Daddy." Nika laughed softly. "Many people look alike." Ada shook her head. "No, Mummy, she has Daddy's eyes. And her surname is also Okafor." Nika's heart slowed. "What is her father's name?" Ada looked down. "Patrick Okafor." That night, Nika waited for her husband. Patrick came home smiling, holding Suya like nothing was wrong. Nika placed Ada's school notebook on the table. "Do you know a girl named Zena?" Patrick froze. It was small, but Nika saw it. The Suya bag shook in his hand. "Who told you that name?" Nika stood up slowly. "My daughter is in the same class with your daughter." Patrick sank into a chair. The room became silent. Then he whispered, "Nika, let me explain. But some lies are too heavy for explanation." Patrick had another woman. Her name was Miriam. They had been together for years. They had a daughter, Zena, and a younger son, David. He had rented them an apartment across town. He paid their bills. He visited them whenever he claimed to be traveling. Nika listened without crying. That scared Patrick more than shouting. "So while I was praying for you on business trips," she said, "you were eating dinner with another family." Patrick covered his face. "I didn't plan it like this." Nika laughed once, but there was no joy in it. Men always say that when the plan finally catches them. The next day, the school invited both families. Ada and Zena sat on opposite sides of the counselor's office. Jason stood close to his mother. David hid behind Miriam. The children looked confused. The adults looked ashamed. Zena stared at Ada. "So your daddy is my daddy too." Ada's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know what he is anymore." Patrick tried to speak, but Nika raised her hand. "Not here. You have already confused them enough." Miriam began to cry. "I didn't know he was still living fully with you. He told me the marriage was over." Nika turned to her. "And you believed him?" Miriam lowered her head. "I wanted to." That answer hurt because it sounded honest. For weeks, the house was broken. Ada stopped speaking to Patrick. Jason avoided him. Zena refused to go to school. David cried whenever anyone mentioned Daddy. Patrick moved into a guest room. For the first time, he saw what his secret had done. Not to one woman, not to 2 women, 2 for children. One evening, Ada asked her mother, "Are we still a family?" Nika held her hand. "We are still a family, my love, but we are no longer pretending." That became the beginning of truth. Nika refused to fight Miriam like an enemy. "You are not my friend," she told her, "but our children are innocent." Miriam nodded through tears. "I agree." The 2 women made rules. No more hidden visits. No more secret school payments. No more lies about birthdays, holidays, or surnames. Patrick would support all his children openly, but he would not use money to buy forgiveness. One Sunday afternoon, all 4 children met again in a quiet park. At first, nobody spoke. Then little David kicked a football toward Jason. Jason looked at it for a moment, then kicked it back. That was how the children began before the adults did. Ada and Zena took longer. They were the same age, same class, same father, same wound. One day, Zena whispered, "I'm sorry." Ada looked at her. "You didn't do it." Zena wiped her face. "But I feel like my life entered yours and spoiled it." Ada shook her head. "No, Daddy spoiled it." From that day, the girls slowly became sisters. Not because it was easy, because they understood the same pain from different rooms. Months later, the school held its cultural day. Ada and Zena were placed in the same drama group. The teacher wanted to separate them, but both girls refused. They performed together. Patrick sat in the audience, crying quietly. Nika sat on one side. Miriam sat on the other. Nobody clapped for Patrick, but everyone clapped for the children. After the program, Patrick asked to speak to Nika and Miriam. "I have broken both homes," he said. "I cannot ask you to trust me quickly. But I want to stop hiding. I want to be accountable." Nika looked at him. "Accountability is not speech, it is behavior." Miriam added, "And fatherhood is not visiting when convenient." Patrick nodded. "I know." Years passed. Nika rebuilt herself. She started a catering business she had postponed for years because Patrick always said there was no time. Miriam returned to school and finished her degree. The children grew closer. Ada became protective of Zena. Jason and David became inseparable. Their family was not normal in the way people expected, but it became honest. One day, Ada came home holding a framed picture. It was from school. She and Zena were standing together in uniform, smiling. Behind them stood Jason and David. Ada placed the picture on the table. "Mummy," she said, "I used to hate this picture in my head. But now I think children should not lose each other because adults lied." Nika hugged her. "You are wiser than the people who hurt you." At Zena's 16th birthday, both mothers planned the celebration together. Patrick stood at the back, quiet and humbled. When it was time to take family photos, the photographer looked confused. Who should stand where? The room went silent. Then Zena held Ada's hand. "Put the children in the middle," she said. "Adults can arrange themselves." Everyone laughed softly, but Patrick cried, because that was the truth. The children had become the center of the healing. Not his pride, not his excuses, not his image. Years later, people still whispered about Patrick's to families, but Nika no longer bent her head. When someone asked, "How did you survive such betrayal?" she answered, "I stopped protecting the lie. Then I started protecting the children." And that was how the secret that nearly destroyed two homes became the truth that forced everyone to grow. Patrick hid a second family for years, but when the children met, the lie finally ended. And from the broken pieces, the mothers built something stronger than his deception. They built peace.